22 years of waiting, and now here we are. No more Mr. Second, no more bottle Arsenal. History has finally called the Gunners' name.
You did it. Champions go on when others stop. This is your time.
"19 clean sheets, they defeated and ended Manchester City's dominance under Pep Guardiola. These Arsenal are different.
82 points is what it took. Of course, the first Premier League title since the Invincibles 03-04 era. But the goals against and the clean sheets has been the foundation of what they built this Premier League season on.
But Arsenal aren't stopping there. Look across Europe. Look at where they are right now.
History makers! Arsenal are back in a Champions League final! And in truth, it was never in doubt from the very first minute here. And the Gunners are heading to Budapest, and they sit now just 90 minutes away from their first ever Champions League title.
11 wins, 3 draws, 14 unbeaten games. You're not dreaming. Arsenal are flying high.
He said Arsenal were the favourites and should be because of what they've produced in the Champions League this year. So being undefeated in this campaign, they should have all the confidence in the world.
Bayer Leverkusen, out. Sporting CP, out. Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone's steel wall of Europe, not enough.
Arsenal can taste it more than they've ever tasted it.
If Arsenal win this, the arguments that I'm going to put players in are going to be egregious. We're going to put Mikel Arteta in the greatest ever manager arguments. We're going to put William Saliba in the best ever centre back argument.
And now, in just 8 more days, in Budapest, under the lights of the Champions League final, stands PSG, the defending champions, boasting Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, and a burning ambition to rewrite history.
What we have to think now is about the final. And we have nothing to lose. It's massive. I believe that we don't have to think about in the next year or following year. I believe that we have a big chance now, next week. And the boys, I believe that they are ready. They are ready. This generation are ready. And I believe that we have a big chance next week. And therefore, these boys, they are going to deliver.
PSG are the favourites. The media is calling this a mismatch. But no, believe me, Arsenal will destroy this PSG.
People were doubting that team. At times, I have to say, 3 to 4 years ago, I was asking, where is that team going? I think it was the right thing, to ask yourself where that team was going. Where we have an answer. Those guys, if they manage to win it, and it is a massive if, because we know what's coming on the other side. Again, you're gonna have to call them the unforgettables. I'm not going to care about how we play or not play. It's about winning it.
You'll say I'm an Arsenal fan and I'm being delusional that this is the worst Premier League champion ever, and this is Arsenal. Okay, just stay with me. By the end of this video, you will change your mind.
Arsenal going to that final might not be favourite, although on paper it's still the team that didn't lose in the Champions League. But look, I always say, I believe in what I see.
Imagine 2 opposite worlds behind the dressing room doors on the night of May 30th. PSG enter Budapest with the relaxed demeanour of a reigning king, the team that defeated Inter Milan a year earlier to conquer Europe. Marquinhos has already touched the silverware, Vitinha has tasted glory, and now that calmness and confidence have crystallised into one single mission: to defend their throne.
Hey, on the out as far as Fabian Ruiz. Oh, he smashed that one home. Dante misses it, and it's Hakimi. PSG do get their second on the night. PSG book their ticket to Munich. Here's PSG 2, Arsenal 1.
On the other side of the battlefield is an Arsenal born from pure adversity. 3 consecutive seasons tasting the bitterness of finishing second in the Premier League, culminating in a fatal stab from PSG's themselves in last season's semi-finals. But every fall didn't break them. It only sharpened the Gunners into an even deadlier weapon. Then, 9 days before this life or death battle, they took their revenge and climbed to the top of England after more than 2 decades of painful waiting. No miracles, no last-minute drama. Arsenal claimed the throne through absolute dominance across 200 unfiery days.
What's going on in that dressing room right now?
Yeah, it's chaos. I don't think you can underestimate
what we've done in this competition up to this point, and I think we had every right to celebrate that moment. It's such a big moment, Champions League final, you know, the most prestigious tournament in club football. So, yeah, it's a proud moment for the boys, for the club, and yeah, we're just trying to soak it all in.
That is the ultimate asset no money can buy and no one can fake. The pride of a collective that knows it truly belongs here. PSG mistakenly believe they are facing a team still intoxicated by their recent victory. But in reality, what awaits them is far more dangerous. A monster that no longer knows fear. A lone will cannot decide a Champions League final, but a fortress can, and Arsenal currently possess the most solid shield in this season's Champions League. Defensive strength doesn't mean passive defending. For Arsenal, it is a subtle art of hidden attacking, and to measure its destructive power, just look at the guns on the other side of the battlefield. PSG have arrived in Budapest with the most terrifying attacking force on the continent. Ferocious, passionate and unpredictable, led by the trio of Kvaratskhelia, Dembele and Doué. The clearest proof is still fresh. The 6 devastating goals they fired past Bayern Munich across 2 horrifying semi-final legs.
Kvaratskhelia, Dembele waits in the box. Still with Kvaratskhelia! Oh, he's so good! Dembele! Oh, brilliant! Remarkable from PSG!
6 goals in 2 legs is a nightmarish chapter, but the real tragedy lies in the opposite direction. PSG themselves had to pick the ball out of their net 5 times in those 180 minutes. Their defence, despite the presence of Marquinhos and Pacho, has never been an impregnable fortress. Beneath that shiny armour lie fatal weaknesses, areas where they are easily hurt and can collapse against swift counterattacks or ice-cold set pieces. But Arsenal are an entirely different reality. At the heart of their defence stands William Saliba, towering as the best centre-back on the planet right now. Fact beyond debate when both cold statistics and the highest individual honours have bowed in acknowledgement. Beside him is Gabriel Magalhaes, a true warrior who plays with ruthless passion, tormenting and breaking the will of every opposing striker. Guarding the goal behind them is David Raya, the man who has just completed a historic Golden Glove hat-trick in the Premier League. The indictment against every European attack is clear. Just 26 goals conceded and 19 clean sheets. Unprecedented records in the world's toughest league. Kvaratskhelia will certainly have the ball in Budapest. That artist always knows how to find space. But Saliba will be there, tall and ice cold, a man with no concept of fear against anyone. Possess devastating firepower, but Arsenal hold a state-of-the-art defensive structure, and when a raging storm crashes into a solid landmass, the sturdy architecture is always the last one standing. Moreover, Arsenal are hiding an ultimate secret weapon, one ready to turn PSG proudly high defensive line into their own graveyard. Next is the weapon that many teams have feared this season when facing Arsenal: set pieces. A name without a shirt number, a completely anonymous face in the crowd, but one who could be the ultimate decider of Arsenal's fate on May 30th, Nicolas Jova, the architect of dead ball situations. This season, the London Gunners have scored a staggering 35 goals from set pieces, an unprecedented record that challenges every giant in Europe's top 5 leagues over the past decade. That insane number has never been the product of luck. It is the moment when cutting-edge science is weaponized on the green pitch.
Can all agree that they're definitely going to try and score from a corner kick, because have a look at this. Arsenal now tying their own Premier League record for goals from corner kicks. And
well, you know, it's part of the football. We have to accept that. And I remember when I was playing, already 65% of goals were coming from set pieces. So you have to accept the fact that it can happen and that's a skill, and that you have to work on that. And I think Rhys James said that the football now is mostly goals are mostly coming from set pieces, and I agree with that.
PSG worship artistic football. They push their defensive line to the edge of risk, suffocating opponents with breathless pressing to create a fiery flow on the pitch. But that proudly high trap is exactly the juiciest prey that Arsenal crave most whenever a corner kick or free kick is awarded. When Bayern Munich punished the vast spaces behind PSG defence to score 5 goals in the semi-finals, Luis Enrique vaguely noticed the crack in the armour. However, the Spanish coach still cannot imagine the brutality awaiting him, because he has never faced Nicolas Jova. Luis Enrique thinks he is stepping into an ordinary football match. In truth, he is walking into a spatial geometry examination where Jova sets the questions, and PSGs are completely clueless about the answers.
You have already faced 4 Premier League teams in the Champions League this season: Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle, Spurs, and you haven't lost. And it's another one in the final. You face Arsenal. I think you quite like playing Premier League teams, Luis?
It's going to be different in a final. But anyway, Mikel Arteta, they did it great, and they deserve to go through the final. They are doing, they have been performing the whole season at a high level. They were unbelievable during the whole season, but it's a final. They want to win it. I think it's going to be they are first, and we want to continue with making history in Paris, and to making history, we need to win the second one in a row.
But set pieces, after all, are only one piece of the puzzle. The ultimate weapon will decide the fate of the throne tonight lies on an even fiercer battlefield. Who will dominate the midfield? At this turning point, I will not hide a harsh truth, because only by acknowledging it can I strengthen my argument. PSG midfield, with the golden triangle of Vitinha, João Neves and Warren Zaire-Emery, is the most terrifying trio in this season's Champions League. This is not emotional praise. The nightmare memory of the Emirates last season remains fresh like an unhealed scar. In the first 20 minutes of that night, PSG played as if Arsenal didn't even exist. The French side suffocated the space with 77% possession. Vitinha and Neves turned the pitch into their personal stage, dictating the tempo at will and completely erasing Arsenal's midfield from the tactical map. That was a brutal reality, a stain on the Gunners' pride that they have neither the right nor the ability to deny.
Vitinha and Neves, the way they recover the ball, the way they possess the ball, it's baby Xavi Iniesta-esque. It's like a baby version. Now what they've got to go do is go and do what them man did with Spain, with Portugal. But when you're watching them, you can't say nothing but be in awe. They can recover the ball, they can pass the ball, they link up well. Like, it's amazing to see.
But history always has two sides of the same coin, and there is another truth that the French cannot deny. Right at the Emirates, before that tragedy happened a season ago, that same proud PSG midfield trio had to bow their heads in a 0-2 defeat, a cold, effortless victory for Arsenal. Same venue, same people, but two completely opposite scenarios. The fateful question now is, which version of Arsenal will show up in Budapest? The answer does not lie in prophecies, but is being decided by the monstrous numbers Declan Rice has set in this season's 2 semi-final legs. 29 progressive carries, 776 metres of stride that tore apart the opposition's structure, an insane record when no teammate of his even reached the 300-metre mark on that horrific night. Calling Declan Rice's performance excellent is an understatement. He single-handedly carried the entire team on his shoulders and dragged Arsenal through one of the most stormiest semi-finals in the club's history. This is no longer the Declan Rice who faced doubts last season. This is the moment a man crossed the boundary of stardom and evolved into an entirely different destructive force.
Someone who is doing more than really, really well, and in my opinion, I don't know if this is a big shout or not, is the most important player in the Arsenal team, is Declan Rice. I think he is unbelievable, future England captain for sure.
He's definitely the most complete though. When you talk about impact in the final third, impact on set pieces, defensively still unbelievable. I feel like it's almost gone under the radar. I know people talk about him being a great ball-winning midfielder. This might be one of the best I've ever seen in terms of cleaning up midfields, eating up ground. No one in the squad can do what Declan Rice does. Others can give us something different. Marino can, maybe Lewis Skelly one day. But I just don't think there's another Declan Rice, and you're not going to find another Declan Rice.
No, he's special. He's really special. But it's not just about what he does with the ball, or even with the ball winning. It's his spirit, it's his character, it's the personality that he plays with. He carries people with him. I think if Arsenal win the league, and I think all of us in this room sincerely hope and probably believe that we will win the league this season, I think Declan Rice gets Footballer of the Year, I think.
And even if Declan Rice is exhausted, Arsenal still have the footballing genius of Martin Odegaard and the explosiveness of Eberechi Eze ready to take the torch. Look at the other side. What does PSG have besides a doubtful Fabian Ruiz, a player who spent most of the season on the injury bed and hasn't breathed the Champions League atmosphere since the bitter defeat against Sporting CP in the group stage? Ruiz may be present in Budapest, but there is a vast abyss between a stepping onto the picture and a performing at peak level. This is a holy war in midfield, a battlefield with no mercy where no one can confidently claim victory. Yet Arsenal possess a weapon that PSG desperately cannot match, a ruthless squad depth that will turn every single second in Budapest into a noose tightening around the reigning champions. When talking about PSG danger, we must talk about Kvaratskhelia. He possesses speed, technique, and the ultimate weapon, the ability to punish opponents at the decisive moment, as proven by his genius assist for Dembele in the 3rd minute in Munich. That is why no one is allowed to switch off. Arsenal know this better than anyone. The wound from last season's semi-final is still too fresh.
He was phenomenal. For what you want from him and what you want to see him do, phenomenal. Like, we've had this conversation before, and there's a difference between a dribbler and a regular attacking or front three player. Kwala is special. Like, let everyone know now, watching him play, if you get the opportunity to watch him play, he is special. Enjoy it, because players like him do not come around.
But on the other side stands Bukayo Saka. At 24 years old, he has already contributed to 14 goals in this season's Champions League, serving as Arsenal's most reliable anchor when all hope seems stuck. Kvaratskhelia offers beauty, while Saka decides the outcome of matches. That is the line between pure art and ultimate efficiency. But this is where PSG nightmare truly begins. The French side lives off the breath of individuals. They are dangerous when Kvara is inspired, unstoppable if Dembele is in form. Arsenal, on the other hand, is a coldly operating system. Even if Saka is marked tightly, Eze will immediately step in. Gyökeres will exploit the spaces, and Martinelli will maintain relentless pressure from the opposite flank.
The guy on the screen right now, hopefully we're going to be able to talk to him after the game, and also Mikel Arteta. He was nowhere close to the level of playing at this in this type of game. Sorry, he went on the field for his team, and he delivered at the end of the very day. And Gyökeres, I'm gonna have to give him a lot of credit also. But Gyökeres, not only today, in the last, I will be honest, in the last month or so, the way he runs into the channel, the way he battles for his team. Yes, he didn't score, but it was vital tonight for the Arsenal.
Arsenal once crushed Bayern Munich 3-1 with 2 goals from the substitutes bench. Arteta even left Saka, Rice and Eze on the bench in a UCL knockout match, and the Gunners still cruise to a comfortable victory. PSG simply do not have that kind of luxurious squad depth. In a suffocating 90-minute final, when legs are exhausted after a grueling season, the difference from the bench is what decides the throne. To be honest, PSG are the favourites. Bookmakers have them at 57.43, and I understand why. They are the defending champions. Luis Enrique lifted the trophy with Barcelona in 2015, and Kvaratskhelia is at the peak of his powers. However, Opta's supercomputer, after 10,000 simulations of this final, has produced a reversed scenario. Arsenal are given a 55.7% chance of winning compared to PSG 44.23%. And when you break down the data, Opta's prediction is not surprising at all. Even those backing PSG must admit that Arsenal fully deserve to be here. But that is only the surface of the story. The part no algorithm or number can measure is this: PSG crave history, while Arsenal are fighting for belief. For PSG, a second consecutive title would be a beautiful milestone, a golden line on Wikipedia, but at its core, it would still just be a continuation. For Arsenal, the night of May 30th is the destination that an entire generation of players, coaches, and millions of fans have bled to build over many years. This is their first Champions League final since 2006, the end of a curse of never touching the silverware in 138 years of club history. And they arrive here just 9 days after shattering a 22-year Premier League title drought. That raging energy is something money cannot buy, coaching cannot manufacture, and no bookmaker can price, Kvaratskhelia will still be dangerous. Dembele will still have explosive moments. PSG will certainly not surrender easily, but when the final whistle blows after 90 minutes, Arsenal will be the winners. Football has no concept of certainty, and that is exactly why we are addicted to it. But when looking back at everything we've dissected, the most solid defence in this UCL season, an unprecedented 14-game unbeaten run in the competition's 71-year history, an unstoppable set-piece machine, and a squad depth capable of changing the fate of the match from the bench, especially the energy of a collective that has just ended 22 years of Premier League domination and now stands on the threshold of history for an entire generation. All the signs point to one king. Arsenal are not coming to Budapest for a stroll. Arsenal are coming to Budapest to write the final chapter of their great story. And when Bukayo Saka lifts that silver trophy, it will not simply be Arsenal's Champions League title. It will be a resounding affirmation that patience, perseverance, and indomitable spirit will always be justly rewarded in the end. May 30, 2026, Puskás Arena, Budapest, PSG versus Arsenal. Budapest is ready. Arsenal is ready. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.